You can literally rewire the structure of your brain to change your reality. And if there's even a 1% chance that the methods I used to brainwash myself into a $30,000 per month business and a 7-figure net worth might also work for you, you're going to want to watch this video until the end. Neuroplasticity is the ability of your brain to rewire itself, changing old pathways, creating new ones that allow you to break out of things like fear of failure, procrastination, and self-doubt, and instead snap into thinking and acting in a way that lets you live the life of your dreams. It's literally brainwashing. If you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Lili, and this is where I document my financial freedom journey and bring you guys along with me. Like I said earlier, I built a 7-figure net worth and a 6-figure online business centered around not just financial freedom, but also time and location freedom so that I can travel, work only a few hours a day, and help thousands of other people do the same. And in this video, I'll share with you the 3 strategies that I use to brainwash myself whenever I start doubting my progress or feeling like I'm falling behind. And if you know that you're stuck on your business journey, but you're not sure what actions to take to fix it, watch this video to mentally rewire and then take the business breakthrough quiz that's linked in the top comment so you know what your next step should be. My first brainwashing strategy is to believe that everything is my fault. I learned this lesson by being really embarrassed on the basketball court, and I've never forgotten it. Between my freshman and sophomore years of high school, I moved states, and the state that I was going to, of course, I was going to play basketball there, but they had just won a state championship the year before, and all 5 of their starters were returning. So if you know anything about sports, I'm the new kid on the block. I think I'm better than everyone else, and I want to go in there and I want to earn a starting spot. I'm going to have to take it from someone. And so that summer before my sophomore year, I had something to prove. And we would have these summer scrimmages that weren't really like an official practice, but my coach would be there watching. And so I was playing really, really hard. I made what I thought was a beautiful pass to one of my teammates, and it literally went through her hands and hit her in the face. And I remember getting so upset and so frustrated. And I feel really bad about it now because when that teammate saw my frustration, she just deflated. Like she felt so bad about herself. And I'm like, oh my gosh, catch the ball. Like I'm so mad, whatever. And as we're running back down the court, because now it's the other team's ball, my coach calls me over to the sideline. And I'm like, coach, we're playing. Like, you know, I think that being ultra competitive and whatnot is making me look good, but it's not. So she calls me over. She's like, get over here. And I walk over and she's like, you feel like you're pretty good at basketball, don't you? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And she's like, if you were so good, I would expect you to wipe the ball off first, scooch her a little bit closer to the basket, make sure her hands are secure on the ball so there's no chance that she couldn't catch your pass. A mistake is always the fault of the better player. Now leave. And she kicked me out the gym. So I had to go home from the summer workout. I was super embarrassed and it took some time, but eventually what she said connected. A mistake is always the fault of the better player. If we change the word fault to in control, this is the brainwashing trick that I still use today. Whatever happens, I hope that it's my fault, aka I hope that it's in my control. Because if it is, that means that I can fix it. And if I can fix it, that means I will take action to fix it. This is how I trick myself into taking action, even when I'm a little bit scared of if it's gonna work out or not. Because whatever happens is my fault, aka in my control. The alternative to this is thinking that all of the things around us have more control over our outcomes than we do. And I think this is what causes us to not take action because we're hoping that the timing in the market will be right, or we're hoping that a new business opportunity will pop up and we can, be first on board and take advantage of it. But I think that's a surefire way to have other people jump on opportunities and we get left behind. If we think that everything is our fault, everything is in our control, we're more likely to do something with that power. And the more we do things, the more likely we are to stumble across something that works. Google's definition of this idea is having an internal locus of control, which they define as the extent to which a person believes they can control the event of their own lives. When you have an external focus of control, you have this bias towards waiting and hoping for a better opportunity. But the internal locus of control gives you that bias towards action because you anticipate that everything is the result of your control and therefore you act to control it. My second brainwashing trick is to give myself proof that I think won't matter. And I know that sounds weird, but let me break it down. Your brain is like a data center. And if you give it data from the past that it can draw from and use in the present, it can help you create that future. Now, if you're on this journey towards building wealth, you might say, well, I don't have any past data of building wealth, right? Like it's not something that I've already done before, but we still want to give our brain some data that it can use. And that's why I say to trick it into using data that is seemingly unrelated. So here's what you do. You pick something that is just slightly difficult, but completely unrelated to your business goals. I recently picked up Rubik's Cubing. You can see I've got one of them right there. There's another one on that shelf right there. I started as a way to spend less time on social media. And I realized that this is a really difficult puzzle. Like, you're not just going to pick it up and figure out how to move the pieces. First, you have to learn how the different pieces of the cube interact with each other. And then you learn a set of algorithms that allows you to move those pieces where you want them to go without messing up all of the others. I personally think it's a lot of fun, but the reason it's a brainwashing trick is because it's a challenge for my brain to learn. And that's the exact kind of data that I need to be able to pull from, because the same pathways that I'm developing from just the slight struggle of doing a Rubik's Cube can be used for other tasks that I need to do within my business. So doing things like Rubik's Cubing, training at pickleball, lifting weights, these are all things I do, yes, because they're fun, but they're a brainwashing tool to give my brain just a slight challenge. I'm not trying to become like a rocket scientist, but to give my brain a slight challenge and develop those mental pathways and pushing through a little bit of difficulty. And then I can use those same pathways to push through obstacles in my business. Brainwashing trick number 3, I learned from a business coach that I hired a few years ago. Every time I sat down to film a YouTube video or to write a script or to build out a course, my mind went blank and I couldn't get myself to do it. So he gave me a solution to brainwash myself into being more productive. It was so stupid simple that when he said it, broke through something in my mind. He said all I needed to do was hire someone to watch me work. And I was like, what are you talking about? He said he'd done this for himself and it helped him add over $150,000 extra to his business per year. His instructions were to just go on a site like Upwork, find someone who was from outside the US or Europe, and they had an hourly rate of $5 per hour on their account. And then I would hire them to get on Zoom with me when it was time to work. I would share my screen with them and I would write my YouTube scripts or answer emails, whatever I needed to do. On the other side, they could do whatever they needed to do. They could play video games, they could study, but the only rule was they had to keep an eye on my screen every now and then. And if they saw me start to do something else than what I said I was working on, they would just ask me, hey, what are you working on? And just having someone there kept me more focused. And the fact that I was paying them meant that I had a dollar amount in my head of what that wasted time was worth. If I was procrastinating, it was costing me $5 an hour. But if I was writing a YouTube script or filming a video, which I would probably value at like $150 an hour, that was a much clearer option for me to take. Just having a real breathing person there in front of you doing the same thing can help you rewire your brain, which is why I think that co-working is one of the biggest brainwashing strategies that you can use. And today I don't pay anyone necessarily to watch me work, but I do have a co-working session each morning with my team. And so technically I am paying them to be there. But when we're all on Zoom and we all have a task to focus on, being there together can really help keep us on track. And if you want to join me co-working, you can join an upcoming co-working session inside my free school community, which is called the Financial Freedom School. It's where you'll find free resources like that business breakthrough quiz that'll tell you the next thing you need to work on in your business to break through your current income level. And when you get inside the community, you can sign up for an upcoming free AI masterclass. Just signing up for that masterclass also enters you into a giveaway to win a free AI employee or workflow for your business. So just use the link in the top comment and I'll see you inside school. And until next time, thanks for watching.